I'm in good shape. I'm ready. I don't care whatever he wants to throw at me. I will match him. I had more knockouts than he'd had fights, so I'm not going to lose no sleep over it.
He's not a good boxer. Without a doubt, he can't box. He's a hard puncher, but he's a wild hard puncher. You know what I mean? So he can't shock. What are you gonna shock me with? He would shock me if he come to fight me. He'd shock me.
I'm very confident. I never usually predict a round, but like I said, between 6 and 8.
ITV Sport welcomes you all to the arena in London Docklands. Britain's Nigel Benn has to produce the performance of his life to retain his title. There's enormous interest in this one. The touts are operating outside, and inside it is just about packed. Hello, good evening to all. This time last week we saw the return of Frank Bruno. It was brief and very unsatisfactory, more of a mugging than a fight. Well, boxing can make a complete idiot of anyone who's brave enough to make a prediction, but I feel absolutely sure we're in for something very special in the next hour. Barry McGuigan's with me as always. Barry, welcome. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. This is one of the most eagerly anticipated fights on both sides of the Atlantic for many, many years. It's going to be absolutely dynamite when it lasts.
Last week, when we were chatting down there in the West Country, you said McClellan. Do you go along with that now?
Well, Nigel Benn is a tremendous puncher, and he's always in there with a chance. But I went to see McClellan work out in the Peacock gym, and he just looks awesome. And no matter what way I've taken this fight apart and dissected it and put it back together again, I only see one winner, and unfortunately I don't think it's going to be Nigel Benn.
Mind you, Nigel Benn, I mean, I've watched him all his career, so have you. He always gives value for money, and he always blasts away, particularly when nobody expects him to.
Exactly, he thrives on the occasion. He said no fear is written on his hat, and he really thrives on a night like this where he's expected to lose. Loves to be the dark horse, and there's no doubt he's got a tremendous punch, and he's in there with a chance.
Barry, just finally, you'll be keeping your scorecard as always. I don't think it's going to be needed.
I don't think so. I think this fight will be over in 3 rounds.
Okay, right, let's go down to ringside. Check what's happening there with Gary Newborn.
Well, Jim, I think first of all we should look at the basic WBC rules for this fight, because it's going to be explosive, we know that. So let's have a look at the main points. No 3 knockdown rule. That means that if a boxer, the same boxer's down 3 times, as long as he beats the count, the fight goes on, it's not stopped. No standing count, and the bell saves only in the last round. Those are the basic rules. With me, Frank Warren and the joint promoter, Don King. Frank, first of all, the newspapers are saying this is going to be the fight of the decade. One thing's for sure, it's not going to last the distance.
No, it's an explosive fight. Both guys carry bombs in their gloves, and do not blink, because you're going to see plenty of action.
What do you think's going to happen? The betting, very heavy betting, is on the early rounds.
I honestly think the first one who lands with a punch, somebody's going to go. And I don't think Nigel Benn for 1 minute is a 5-2 against underdog.
But McClellan is that 5-2 favourite.
Yeah, he's a good puncher. He's won his last 3 fights by knockout, as we all know. But you know, that's all the boxing he's had in the last year. You know, I think Nigel Benn's going to show something tonight.
The fight of the decade in Great Britain?
Yes, it is. It's going to be a sensational fight, and the Brits deserve their best. And that's why Frank Warren and I joined together with ITV and the voice of ITV, Gary Newborn, to bring you the best in boxing. And you're going to see some explosive activity here tonight. And I predict that Gerald McClellan is a miniature Mike Tyson. Now, what they're depending on in the Benn camp is that maybe the inexperience and not knowing being a title holder, but he's a title holder too. He just gave up one. So it's going to be an exciting evening of fisticuffs here on ITV. Don't even go to the refrigerator to get a Kool-Aid or a beer. Stand right there and watch this in its entirety. Make your breaks with the breaks that come on between the rounds, because you can't afford to miss this. It's going to be great, Gary.
Okay, it's going to be a good fight, isn't it?
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
Okay, well, there's been a lot of betting on this fight, and to get up to date with it all, a man who even is in the shadow when it comes to words of Don King. John McCurrick, what's happening?
It isn't only Nigel Benn who faces an early knockout. Bookies too will be flattened if they reckon that McClellan is an absolute certainty at 3-1 on. They're going McClellan to win. That's the best price you can get to win in early rounds. Of course, most people expect with 3-1 against Benn and 50-1 the draw. And for McClellan to win on points, well, that's 9-1. It's 11-1 Benn. But the Fleet Street hacks are convinced the judges' scorecards will not be needed. In the Times, Sir Crew Masen believes Benn will go in the 6th. That's 12-1. The Mirror's Ian Gibb goes for the 5th at 9-1. The Express, Star and Colin Hart and the Sun say no longer than the 3rd, 13-2. Just 2 rounds according to the Independent's Ken Jones and the Daily Mail. While John Rodder in the Guardian and today's Mike Walters reckon the Yank will knock the chimes out of Big Ben inside 3 minutes. But in racing, whenever the hacks agree on anything, they're invariably wrong. So I go along with the crowd here and take Ben at 3-1 to win for Britain. But it's going to be a primitive dogfight here on the Isle of Dogs. Will McClellan prove to be a savage, snarling pit bull or merely a poodle? Yelp!
I'll tell you what, you call him a poodle and I'll be right behind you, John.
Thank you, JR.
Right, then, let's just take a look, shall we, at the tail of the tape, shall we? Ben, 31 years of age, 4 years older. That height advantage that McClellan has could be absolutely crucial. 6 foot compared to Ben, 5'9.5". Ben, though, smack on the 12-stone limit. McClellan surprisingly light at 11.11. Those were yesterday's weights, though. I'm sure McClellan will have made up a bit of weight since then. How are they looking in the dressing rooms? Gerald McClellan outside the ring. He says, I'm a nice guy. Inside, I'm like an animal. It's scary feeling the confidence I have when I leave the dressing room, the mandatory challenger. Meantime, the champion, Nigel Benn, he says, I fought guys who put the fear of God in me. I always put on my best performance against them. Benn and McClellan will be blasting off in a couple of minutes. The arena in London Docklands. Over 10,000 people inside, waiting to see if Nigel Benn can upset all the punters, all the odds, and successfully defend against the mandatory challenger, the lethal hitter Gerald McClellan. Frank Bruno outside the ropes this week. Let's join your MC for this evening, the distinctive Jimmy Lennon Jr. Into the arena, the challenger, but the red-hot favourite. I haven't seen him crack a smile since he arrived here, Gerald McClellan. Moving up to super middleweight, and he was middleweight champion. He disposed of all challengers very quickly. There's no way Ben can outbox me, he says. Why stand there for 12 when I can get it done in 1? The G-Man. magnificent reception for the champion. Like Tyson and Hagler, Benn says he's never ducked anybody. He's promised to be the old dark destroyer tonight. At 31, he knows there aren't many nights like this ahead of him if he loses. He's met the best and come through, and he has promised to shock everybody tonight. A terrific reception from Nigel Benn.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask you to rise for the playing of the national anthems. We will begin with the national anthem of the United States, immediately followed by the British national anthem.
So then, the formalities are very nearly over. There's a real buzz about this place at the moment. Let's get back to Jimmy Lennon.
Ladies and gentlemen in attendance, boxing fans joining us across the UK on the ITV Sports Network and sports fans joining us around the world, we welcome you to the London Arena for the main event of the evening, Sudden Impact, brought to you by Frank Warren Sports Network and Don King Productions, as sponsored by Acclaim Entertainment. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council, President Jose Sulaiman, Supervisor ringside Enza Yamaponi. It is scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing, along with the British Boxing Board of Control, the steward in charge, Nipper Reed. Physicians at ringside, Dr. Shapiro, Dr. Uttar, and Dr. Ross. Timekeeper at the bell is Nick White. I introduce to you the judges, scoring this bout from ringside, Jose Juan Guevara, Anik Hongtongkam, and Franz Marti. Introducing to you the referee in charge of this main event. He will be giving instructions after the introductions, Alfred All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. And now, ladies and gentlemen, in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, it's showtime with the WBC Super Middleweight Championship of the World. I introduce to you first the challenger on my left, fighting out of the red corner. He enters the ring wearing green trunks with white trim, fighting out of Freeport, Illinois in the United States. He weighed in at trim and ready, 11 stone, 11 pounds, or 165 US pounds. His tremendous record includes 31 wins, 2 losses, 29 big wins coming by way of knockout, including 14 straight knockout victories. Here is the current WBC #1 super middleweight contender, the former middleweight champion of the world, known as the G-Man, introducing Gerald McClellan. And his opponent across the ring is the defending champion on my right, fighting out of the left corner. He is wearing black trunks with white trim, fighting out of representing London, England. He weighed in at a super middleweight stone even, 168 US pounds. His outstanding record includes 39 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, with 32 wins coming by way of knockout. Here's the former WBO middleweight champion tonight, making the 7th defense of his current title, introducing the WBC Super Middleweight Champion of the world. He's Nigel.
Benn's the People's Champion, okay. Can he do it? Let's join our commentators, Jim Watt, and first of all, say good evening to Rich Guthridge.
Well, hello there. Pull up a ringside seat with us, and well, to beat an old cliche to death, these two have the old equaliser, 33 first-round wins. Now, you've been warned by Frank Warren the Don King, as we did last week with Frank Bruno, but his opponent, well, he can stand up in a 15-mile-an-hour wind really. These two have had 16 title fights, can take it and dish it out. Benn, tremendous reception he's had here tonight, and he caged around like a lion there, roaring to get out. He really did. He's really fired up for this one, and he'll need to be, because this is some puncher.
McClellan looking for him straight away, Reg, right from the opening bell. He's looking for the finisher.
He's ducking very low, Jim, below the waistline, and he looks as though he's done him in the opening round, and we thought this might happen. That was why the odds are so big. Is he going to climb back? You can usually get a bit longer to get back from the canvas, more than 10, and he's going to. What a sensational start. We didn't expect Ben to go over this quickly, and I couldn't understand why he was propping himself on the ropes a bit like wet laundry there for a second or two. This man is absolutely tremendous puncher. He's got to throw punches back now. Ben,
should
hang
take
in
another
there.
count, Reg. He should take another count until his head clears. Get back onto the one knee. Try and get that head clear. His legs are completely gone. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not defending. He's not attacking. He must take another count, get his head cleared.
He's technically ducking below the waistline, which he's not allowed, but does it matter? I don't blame him. I try and jump on this fella's back. What he's doing now, that's the only way he can, is to claim him. The French referee is pushing McClellan off, which won't please him too much.
The French referee has been very kind to Ben in this first round. He's given him a conveniently long count when he was out of the ring. He's trying to keep McClellan off, but this man will not be denied. Ben badly shaken.
He's supposed to be at the most dangerous when he's wounded, Ben. He's proved that in the past, but this fella's a little bit higher class than some of the. See how generally he's almost falling over as he turned away from the referee.
Ben is not dangerous here, Rez, because he's so badly stunned he can't get any leverage into his counter punches. See, nothing in that punch, off balance, his body weight's back. That was a better shot, but McClellan just takes it and comes back.
He's not generally known to the public at large, McClellan, but the bookmakers knew, didn't they? They bet They bet from the head, not the heart.
Again, the referee being a little bit kind to Benn here. It's as though he's trying to help him survive this round. Benn has to come back with something. Has to get his body weight forward and try and get some leverage into the punch. He's backed up in the ropes, no power.
This man is just remarkable. These first round wins he keeps having. Ben saying, well, I've beaten better men than he hasn't. And he could well do it. It looks, Jim, as though he might have just ridden the storm.
Still shaky, Reg. This kind of punishment takes some time to clear out of your head, but he come back with a good shot and actually made McClellan back off there.
That first punch that came was really the small stone of a landslide from McClellan.
He's doing the right thing now, keep close.
That's it, he survived the round anyway. So all bets off on the first round decision. That was what the bookmakers were worried about. I frankly couldn't care less about them. I'm more concerned about Ben. And they brought in Denny Mancini here, who's very experienced in the corner, to help out with the manager Peter De Freitas and trainer this Kevin Sanders here. And let's have a little nick under that right eye, Jim, that Mancini, the cut man as they call him in the game, is taking care of. That was some round, wasn't it? Totally one-sided, mind you. I mean, Benjamin only got a couple of punches in, really.
The only thing Ben got a chance to display at the edge was his tremendous fighting heart, staying in there when many fighters would have gone out and stayed out. But the punches thankfully weren't landing cleanly on the chin. There were stunning punches to the top and to the side of the head, but not punches on the chin. If those punches had been on the chin, the fight would be over already. Ben out the ring here, so he's entitled to a bit more time to get back in again.
And he wasn't pushed back in, that's against the rule, but I think they've parked the rules at the front gate by the look of it. Round two. Now, can he get that dizziness out? These eyes were in separate orbit at one stage there, Ben. He's a bit of a fussy referee, this European.
Yeah, I think Ben should be thankful for that. His legs still look a little bit unsteady. We'll see if he can get any leverage. That's better. He has to get his body weight forward, get some punches off.
There's the old Dark Destroyer now, getting back to his fighting days. Both these fellas actually were amateur champions of their own country. You'd never believe it the way they're wading in here. They're not trying to baffle each other with science at the moment. It's soft.
This looks better for Ben. He's managing to get body weight forward, get some power into the punches. But McClellan even looks smooth when he's backing off.
See, people always say, and quite rightly, that he's a great puncher, but the fella can box a bit.
That was a good shot from Ben. That was a good left hook. That's exactly what he needs. Get some confidence back into that nine.
This is some comeback in the second round, isn't it? He's complaining about a rabbit blow there on the back of the neck, McClellan.
Good right hand from Ben. See, McClellan does not have a great defence. Ben has to go looking and trying to make the chances.
He had these fights, Jim McClellan, with two of them with Julian Jackson like this, and he came out on top in explosive starts like this.
Well, he does have a good chin, but he does not have a good defence. And he's missing now, Ben getting under the shots.
Crowd roaring now for Ben. That's some comeback. It looked all over, didn't it?
Another good right hand. Ben is getting punches through now, and he's shaking McClellan up. McClellan, no defence.
He's done it before as the underdog. Remember the Aaron Barkley fight that we covered on ITV, Jim, and Doug DeWitt. They were favourites to lick him.
McClellan is looking a little bit sloppy in this round, Reg. As though he felt the fight was over.
We don't know anything about stamina, actually, McClellan, because he's never had to go the full distance. It looks as though he's definitely got himself together now, doesn't it, Ben?
Another perfect left hook from Ben.
Well, they said it was going to be explosive. Yes, a wild two, but does that matter? The crowd are really going for this one, and I'm sure you are at home. You've got some sweaty palms around here now, fidgeting around the ringside, and people wondering exactly what's going to happen now. Which one is going to go first? what an atmosphere it is here. Welcome back, Gal. Well, there was, in that opening round, it looks as though Ben had more chance of surviving a firing squad than he did McClellan, but he's got over it and he had a good second round. And as Jim Watt was saying, he looked a little bit defensively sloppy there, McClellan.
See, Ben is ducking low as he comes forward, and that's working. McClellan has not landed a decent punch in the second round, and he can't solve this low style of Ben's out. And Ben's coming out of the crouch, and he's landing the shots. Ben has found the perfect answer to McClellan's style. Keep his own chin low and come up from the crouch with hooks.
And he's doing all the things that he promised as well, Ben.
McClellan is actually trying to turn boxer here.
Well, if he didn't have any respect for him before the fight, he's got it now.
That's a good right hand.
Yeah, he's got some length in those punches, Jim, too, McClellan. He can hurt from a distance punch.
But Ben's tactics are perfect in the second round, and the way he started the third here. Well, he certainly gained McClellan's respect with the punches that he landed in the second round.
I know Frank Bruno's up there giving Nigel all the support he needs. He stood up to shout out there. I think he's had more sweat watching this fight than he could certainly work up against somebody called Marion Schechter Mallet last week. But this fight has certainly made up for it, even if it ends now.
Who would have thought in the first round that Ben would have McClellan backing off in the third? Unbelievable. Ben's head just a little bit high that time. When he keeps it low, bobs and weaves as he goes forward, he's keeping out of trouble.
Oh, he's hit him with that uppercut there.
Suddenly McClellan has to think about defence.
Yeah, turn to southpaw then, Jim, to try and put him off a bit. See, these first round wins that he's had so many of them now, McClellan, it looks like, well, nothing recedes like success because he's got overconfident. But he's still there. Oh dear,
those left hook followed by a good right hand.
Yeah, that long right hand I just said to you, that's the one he hurts with as well.
That's the big difference between the two. The impact of the punches when they land. McClellan's punches are hurting, but Ben's not really getting the same impact.
Oh, they're hurting all right, but not getting him over. And he's come back a lot better in this round. And we're in round four. And certainly the old Royal Fusilier here is showing all the fighting spirit, and he's mustered the will both to revive body and spirit after that what could have been a disastrous opener there for Ben. And Mr. McClellan certainly not looking the 3-1 on chance.
Well, Ben just wants to keep that head low as he goes forward and come out of the crouch with either right or left hooks. That's what's been working for him in the second and third rounds. He has to keep coming forward. He can't allow McClellan to back him up.
McClellan's never been beyond the 8th round, actually, Jim. Not completed 12, obviously, and Ben has 4 times, but I would still be surprised if it goes that far. We're only in the 4th round. The Super Middleweight Championship, 12 stone. And McClellan came in at 11-11, Ben at 12 stone.
Well, Ben has having no trouble getting the punches home, Reg. McClellan's defence is very sloppy.
He's certainly given it the old blaster that we saw in the early days of Ben's career when he was really knocking them over, what he used to call the Mexican road sweepers. This fella's a long way from that.
McClellan still hasn't solved out Ben's style. He's been missing with that straight, long right, and he's not coming back with a leg hook, so Ben is keeping out of trouble.
Remember, he was the former WBO and WBC middleweight champion McClellan. He vacated this Bales championship to come up into the higher division.
I think Benn has shocked McClellan with his punching power and his heart.
Hanging on for dear life there, absolutely. It was like a sailor there, Jim, in a storm, you know, clinging onto the mast. He wouldn't let go of it. All right, it might be a bit scrappy, though. I said they're not battling each other with science particularly, but it's absolutely thrilling stuff. And the EastEnders here are really lapping it up. No, they just whisked past it there, Jim. The crowd thought they landed, but the second punch didn't.
But the main thing is Benn's the one exerting the pressure, still pushing McClellan back. See, then he missed again with the right hand, McClellan, but didn't come back with the left hook. I mean, basic boxing tells you miss with the right, come back with the left hook. With this pace alone, Reg, something has got to give.
Fifth round, and Benn's corner, I think we heard him saying the other guy's running out of ideas, which is very possible. First time he's been with a new trainer, Kevin Saunders, and it's coming up for him. As you say, Jim, very few of them get McClellan on this back foot and moving off like this.
McClellan is used to bullying people, Reg, and he's not doing that. Quite the opposite. Benn is beginning to bully him, pushing him back, not allowing him the leverage in his punches. Right hand again from Benn.
He's still lethal though, Jim. I mean, Julian Jackson was a real hard puncher. Ask Harold Graham. And McClellan caught up with him in the fifth round.
But Reg, he's not looking sharp in his movements or in his punching.
No, I agree with you. I think at the moment it looks like being Benn's fight. Can you believe this? And there's a scorecard.
My card.
Well, actually, McGuigan's got him the other way around, but it's whichever way you want to pick there, Jim.
No, I think Benn's work rate and his cleaner punching has got him in front. McClellan's been jabbing and trying to keep him off balance. But I like Benn's work far better.
Oh, what a shot that
was a shaky one.
Turn to southpaw again, you see. He's liable to confuse himself as well there, McClellan. It shows a little touch of desperation there. I think he's a bit shocked that this fella's got a heart as big as a lion anyway, hasn't he? He's worked himself into good shape here, good mental shape, fired up here, Benn. We've seen him come through a few of these in the past.
McClellan's looking a little bit more composed in this round. Still no defence, he's very, very reckless, but looking a bit more composed.
Almost losing the gum shield there as though he's spitting it out, McClellan. Frank standing up, there he is. See, I should imagine with his voice he could hear him all right, Ben.
Ben just beginning to feel the pace a little bit. He's thrown a lot of shots, Reg, missed with a lot. And I think the pace is beginning to tell on him now.
It's a long time since I've seen Frank Bruno more excited than this, and I hope you all are. I wonder why he's leaving it out of his mouth, the gum shield like that. I think the referee's entitled to tell him to put it back. It's obligatory. Oh, there it goes again.
It could be breathing problem, Reg. I don't know. I mean, I've never seen a fighter doing that with a gum shield voluntarily. Maybe breathing problems. Maybe he's really gasping for air there. This really is a pace.
Well, we had a build-up for this fight to say it was exclusive and explosive. And I doubt whether people believed us. So, Gary, I think, has got Nassim over there. Let's see what he has to say.
Naz, I don't know how Benn got back into the fight, but what a fight. He looks like he's going to win it now.
It's a great fight for Nigel now. I can see him taking him out, believe me. 2 more rounds. Nigel's looking the stronger fighter now. He's took the punishment. He's coming back with war. He's coming back with punches.
McClellan really isn't used to this sort of fight. He gets it over quickly. Do you think this is now going to be in Nigel's advantage?
I think definitely this is Nigel's advantage because, I mean, he's blown himself out basically. He's thrown all the punch, all the bombs he can. Believe me, it's Nigel's night now. Let's get it on, Nigel.
Are you, like the rest of the country, surprised that Nigel's doing so well?
I wasn't surprised because I said to people there might be an upset. And as soon as I got into a place, I felt there might be an upset tonight because Nigel, once he starts knocking good shots out, Nigel takes him out.
Thanks.
Well, there it is, and you can see Naz in action next week on ITV from Edinburgh. So round 6. Looking at those points there, Jim, perhaps Barry McGuigan gave it the 2-pointer in that opening round from the knockdown, and that was
yeah, that was just about swing it.
We're just about swing it. But all right, well, let's call it level. But I would have leaned now a bit to Benn on the scores.
But what I noticed, Red, there was an awful lot more care and attention in McClellan's boxing in the 5th round there. He's gained Benn's respect. He knows it's going a lot longer than they expected, and he needs some steam. He needs to look after his team.
So he's got him level now, Jim, and the unofficial. 3 judges, Switzerland, Thailand, Mexico, if called upon. I think they might have a superfluous job still. A long way to go yet.
I just think, Reg, with the pace that they're setting, someone has got to go physically, even if they're not knocked out. Sheer exhaustion could decide this fight.
Benn has always said if he takes him a few rounds, he really fancies the job, because there is some doubt really about McClellan's staying power, but it's never really been proven. On the other hand, you know, once he gets past the 8th round, it's unknown territory.
But Benn's still not allowing McClellan to settle. This is what he must do. Go making the chances, push him back as much as possible.
No, they're not getting through those punches. They might look from the back of the hall, but he was ducking and diving, to use a Bruno expression, quite well.
As long as Benn stays low, he's normally out of trouble. It's when he leans back, he's taking severe chances.
He's almost calling him on there, isn't he, Benn? Do you notice that? Yes, he's looking over to the corner saying, don't worry, I'm okay, I'm in charge, I got it here. Came in with a new hairstyle. He's had the old woolly hat on, concealing that from us at press conferences. Slipped on the wet there in Benn's corner, McClellan.
Reg, I think we can rate this already as Benn's greatest ever performance, to come off the floor in the 1st round the way he did and come back in and actually take control of things the way he's doing here.
Against a fighter of this calibre, proven. Made 3 defences of his championship at middleweight, McClellan. And a Don King favourite. He was certainly looking for him to win.
Benn's legs looking very tired now, Reg. McClellan's still just looking a little bit more composed, but he's still being pushed back.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
We've been talking about that. That was a racing certainty. It's the only bet of the night. I'd have liked that one, that it would come out. And a couple after the bell as well. He's hurt there, and I think Benn knew it and just took the. Well, that's it. Well done, mate. Yeah, he bowed to the Frenchman there. Bit of Euros. I think we should get him on the politics, Jim. I'll get the word out in a minute. I'm so excited with the rest of you. The old-fashioned sawdust bowl. We got the lot here. Well, you would in the old East End, wouldn't you? So there's the gum shield coming out, Jim, in replay.
Well, I'm not surprised. It's been half out for most of the fight. Good left hook. The only slight problem for Benn, his punches are not having the effect you would like to see in McClellan. He's landing good shots. He's landing far better shots. Here's Big Frank getting caught up in the atmosphere and the excitement. But he's landing better punches than McClellan, but they're not having the desired effect.
Good rub down there with Sanders and Mancini and De Freitas. They must be pleased with their man's night's work. Character there in McClellan's corner called Hyacinth's Turnip Speed. Well, American fight games are Klondike for characters anyway.
Well, for sheer excitement, Reg, this one rates with any of the fights I've ever seen in all my years in the fight game.
Yeah, we're not worried about the technical side here too much, Jim, are we? They're both such competent boxers, but they're not bothering with that. They're just throwing bombs at each other.
Benn shaking
back
with
of the
that
head.
shot.
Yeah, and he's hit on the back of the head.
See McClellan standing off a little bit, giving himself room to punch. Benn has to get closer.
He loves what he calls a tear-up, Benn, doesn't he? He promised us he would. Oh.
Benn has to get closer. He's given McClellan punching room here.
McClellan's getting a bit irritated as well by the referee getting in there when he thinks he could be unloading punches. And now Denny Mancini's screaming in the corner, and Sanders.
This referee could ruin a good fight, Reg. He wants to get out of there, but he decides that's a low punch. He's given Benn some time to recover.
Been such a pace and such ferocity in the blows, Jim, that it's a noticeable now, just not cruise moded by any means, but by their standards now a little bit slower, isn't it? Well, leg-wise anyway.
McClellan is finding a little bit of punching room here. This is better. Benn has to march straight up with that crouch and punch as he comes out of the crouch, but if he stands within punching range, this fella's going to take over.
Just a point about this gum shield, if it went out among the crowd and nobody could find it, if McClellan's corner didn't have a spare, they would actually be disqualified under the new rules.
It's an overhand right again, landing for Benn, but once again, not the effect we'd like to see. Good left hook from Benn.
He's really doing the come on, mate. Anything you can do, I can do better stuff, Benn. Got himself in a great shape. At 31, it's no chicken in the fight game at this weight. That shield will come out again, Jim. I don't know whether it's got to be the breathing problem. Maybe his nose is busted.
Yeah, I think it's trouble with his breathing. I don't think his nose is busted. I just think it's been the pace of the action. The lungs are craving for more oxygen and he's got to open his mouth. That left hook missed. A good shot from Benn, just missed the whisker. See, McClellan's still trying to get a bit more composure into his work.
I saw him in a spa session once with Tommy Hearns in the Cronk Gym in Detroit, and they got applause. Can you imagine that at a workout?
That was a tremendous left hook from Benn. Again, when he was in trouble himself, that one really shook McClellan.
Barry McGuigan. McClellan has never gone past 8 rounds. Surely it's going to be a matter of fitness. This pace has been terrific.
Well, Nigel's lateral movement has given him real problems. He's loaded up throughout this fight and they're starting to take his toll on him. He's very fatigued. He looks a lot more tired than Nigel does. But this is all down to who wants it the most, who's the fittest.
There's always a risk with Nigel that he could just get tagged.
Well, there is the risk. But he's finding McClellan much easier to hit now, and also McClellan is finding him more difficult to hit. If McClellan worked the body, he could probably have more success, but he's too tired to be able to think like that.
Looking at those two there, McClellan looks the one distressed.
No doubt about that, and he's more worried than Benn is at this stage.
And working there in McClellan's corner, Ralph Citro, great record compiler in America, and one of the most experienced of the cut men. So round 8. I think McGuigan's got it at about level. I've got Benn one up, Jim. You?
Yeah, I've got Benn one up too, just in sheer work rate. Although McClellan was a lot more composed.
Yes, he has got it
the
level.
previous round.
It's still that 2 point in the opening round. Probably that's maybe people think that Benn's a little bit farther ahead. But remember that the judges have to deduct that.
The only thing that worries me in the whole fight is the fact that Benn's getting home with good shots, but they're not troubling McClellan. And in a 12-round fight, that is a severe problem. See, here McClellan's strength beginning to take over. If McClellan starts backing Nigel up, then we're going to see some serious trouble for Benn.
Yeah, and that Don King standing up there to oppose Bruno. Who knows? He might even be the next opponent. He's had some like him.
Benn's too tired now to think about tactics. This is sheer heart, his sheer warrior's heart that's keeping him going now. He must try to keep his body weight forward, keep pushing this fellow back if he can do it.
still not getting out of the way of punches, McClellan, but I tell you what, Jim, you can't question his heart either. He's taken some tough shots.
No, but Ben should be the one that's the happier of the two. I think McClellan and his people must have thought they'd be sipping champagne already. They would not have believed Nigel Benn would still be here.
No, they obviously turned out to be a bit complacent. He's actually not managed by...
Well, that was a good right hand lead from McClellan.
Not managed by Don King anymore, by the way. But King, he's under the King umbrella, as they say, in a promotional sense.
Oh, good right hand again from McClellan.
Oh, he's down in trouble. He's in trouble in the 8th round here. He rolled back from that punch and he was hurt, Ben. Right above us here, Jim. Look at there he goes again. The wounded lion bit again. But he's bang in trouble here.
Legs of Dutch Reg.
He's got to get out of that corner, Jim. He's got to get out of that corner and he won't. But he doesn't mind it in the corner. That was the own impetus of missing with the punch. He's got to count there, the referee.
Ben was actually stumbling to the floor of his own accord.
Yeah, I know he was.
Punch landed, so the referee has to call it.
Exactly. Oh dear, that's put him back on the point schedule anyway.
Again, Ben comes back with that left hook. Right hand from Ben.
Well, we kept promoting this fight as being explosive, but I tell you what, we didn't promote it enough.
One
Explosive.
of the few fights, Reg, even better than we anticipated.
Yeah. Punishing, grueling, and I'm hoping now for his sake, Nigel Benn, that round didn't take too much out of him. And there's a rundown, as I said earlier, with the cornermen. But the little bruise under Ben's eye has been taken care of okay. And there you are, this is the other side. With the trainer there as well. Let's have another look at that, Jim.
But once again, it's only the sheer heart, courage of Nigel Benn that kept him in the fight. These were the bombs that knocked out Julian Jackson and all the rest on McClellan's record, but Ben has taken them and actually come back with good shots of his own. Tremendous show of courage. This is where his legs actually dipped as though it was all over, and he seemed to stumble forward. I think Ben threw a punch, missed, and he was stumbling. He was going over to the floor of his own accord. See that one? He was falling over, but the punch just sent him over, so the referee had to count.
Yeah, but I think McClellan can believe.
Oh, tremendous punch.
That Ben's still there. First time he got into a 9th round in his life, McClellan.
See, Ben's tiring now, Reg, and his chin is up a bit higher.
He's trying to get his hands up there. They must have warned him, the cornermen, there. Tuck the chin down a bit. You're taking chances.
As soon as a fighter's tired, Reg, up comes the chin. That's what's happening to Ben, and that's what's getting him in trouble.
Actually, McClellan just giving that little breather that Ben needs.
McClellan is still trying to keep some composure in his boxing. Ben has to drive. He has to do it for everything from his heart.
Oh, he's trying to measure him with that right hand. Watch that. There it is. Just a bit too long.
There's nothing at all wrong with Gerald McClellan's courage or his chin. He's taking some real shots from him.
Yeah, there's the artificial there by Barry, who's got him 2 points in front. Those knockdowns have done that. I tell you what, he can cancel out all the arrears any time there once he throws the right leather. They may not travel very far, his punches, but I tell you what, McClellan gets the message. Just puffed under both eyes.
Thumb in the eye, I think, from McClellan.
Oh yeah,
he's
complaining there.
Not happy, not happy.
No, he's put his head, caught him with his head.
Yeah.
Oh, now the crowd don't like this. Penny Mancini screaming at the referee, make him fight on.
This is good news for Ben. This is good news for Ben. McClellan doesn't like it.
Well, Ben always said if he gets in a distance with this guy, we'll find out if he's got it.
Well, big question mark hangs over McClellan now, Reg. Clashes of heads are just expected in boxing. You take them and go on with the job. Lack of professionalism there from Gerald McClellan.
Just rushing in then, it wasn't sort of stand-off deliberate butt or head of ball or something. Ben still doing what you said, the best thing, Jim, early on, that he kept ducking below a lot of punches. Yes, of course he's getting caught with plenty.
McClellan's strength is not in his uppercuts, it's in his straight punches and his hooks. So if Ben keeps his chin low, he has very little to fear. McClellan does not use uppercuts very often.
Managed to tuck the gumshoe back in there to McClellan at the end of the ninth. Well, WBC Super Middleweight Championship. They're the two of the tournament, and as I say, added to that Hyacinth turn speed. There's the name for you. So that little, what I call the doll's house arm, is actually called an end swell that they push against the eye, which is iced up. Let's have a look at this.
Well, in that round, the courage was shown. I mean, that was just a stumble from Benn. It didn't even look to me as though the heads collided. I thought it was actually complaining about a thumb. Yes, they actually did. Yes, they
yeah, but it was, it wasn't a butt by any means. He fell.
Right. Now listen, he half swallowed it that round. Don't forget the jab. Come on now. 3 rounds to go. You'll be the champion of champions. Come on.
There it is. It's a bit like having Lester Pickett on the classic horse for old Denny Lansdene. He starts shouting at them and getting them home the last furlong of a fight. 10th round of the scheduled 12 at the 12-stone division. And the 7th defence here by Nigel Benn, former light middleweight champion as well.
Benn's actually looking better here than he was 2 rounds ago. He's got his confidence back again. Showing a little feint, pushing McClellan back. That was a good job from McClellan.
He's blinking a lot, isn't he? Jimmy, notice that McClellan on the way back? Maybe a mannerism, but I doubt it. I've never noticed it before in his fights that I've seen. Well, there it is again. He's still got him a couple of points. Just now what the Swiss, Thailand and Mexico judges think. Referee from France doesn't vote. Oh! Well, you saw that punch coming. The crowd must have seen it coming. They're on their feet. Gerald McClellan didn't see it now. He's got to get up at the 8. There's no free knockdown rule, as we told you earlier. If one man goes down in 3 rounds,
bad signs here for McClellan, Reg. He almost swallowed in the previous round. This is bad. Great signs for Nigel Benn.
This is all heart that's won this fight. And he's going to do it. He's going to stop him, I'll tell you that now. This fella doesn't like it the way he's going down. Of course, you're not going to enjoy being hit. But Jim Watt and I, when they go down like that, and he's shaking his head, he's going to count him out, isn't he? He's going to count him out.
He's quit.
He's done it. He's quit. What a fantastic performance. This ring is going to be like the London Underground in the rush hour. Crazy time. What a result for Nigel Benn, and he deserves it. Fought brilliantly, courageously, and he's still the world BC Super Middleweight Champion. Well, it's a long time since we've had excitement like this at a British fight. Now, these were the questions that Nigel was saying. If this guy goes long in the fight, I guarantee I'll stop him. And he knew what he was talking about.
A tremendous performance. Even if Benn hadn't won tonight, it was going to go down as his career best performance. Just his sheer courage and the technique and the tactics in this battle. But he's won the fight. He's punched the life right out of Gerald McClellan, the most dangerous man on the planet. Nigel Benn is still WBC Super Middleweight Champion.
And that's the border control doctor there in the corner of Gerald McClellan. Just making sure that he's okay. We're still not sure. I mean, obviously the punches do it. We're not hiding that. But there seemed to be another reason, Jim. I said to you seconds before, he's blinking heavily. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, I think it was a heart problem, Reg. I'm not doubting McClellan's courage, but he decided the first time he went on the floor, it was the same punches that's been taken all night long. But suddenly the chin could still take the punches, but the heart could not. Down he went, head as clear as a bell, eyes as clear as a bell, nothing wrong with him. apart from the fact that that punch in the jaw had an effect on his heart. We can't question the man's courage with the punches he's taken leading up to this particular round. But Nigel Benn has just punched the fight right out of Gerald McClellan here.
In the fight trade, this is one of the biggest upsets for many years, I promise you that.
Well, especially the start Benn had. There'll be very few fighters who will come back. But is it a case of, once again, of the bully, when the tables are turned, they're not used to taking the punishment and can't do it? But what a tremendous performance, a tremendous finish from Messi. Once again, not a devastating knockdown. McClellan has decided to go on the floor, looked at the referee and just stayed there. So in effect it's actually a retirement from Gerald McClellan. On his knees to the finish. See, Ben still plenty of heart, plenty of fight. Everything Ben has, he dishes out, never quits. But here we see Gerald McClellan actually quitting.
Well, that's what they call punching the life out of you. And he's lying on the floor now, McClellan, Jim. Now he's got to get steward and the security boys have got to get everybody out the way. That's the border control doctor there.
I think this could be exhaustion, maybe a bit of dehydration. I don't think it's the punches that he's taken. And they'll certainly take him off to hospital overnight.
Oh, absolutely. Well, let's hope he's going to be okay. Ben doesn't realise it yet, by the way, while he's doing this, and I'm sure that at least he would go over there. But we're nearly ready, I think, for Gary to try and get hold of it now and explain what's happening. Over to Gary.
Nigel, that not only was your greatest ever performance, that was one of the great boxing performances of all time in this country.
Yeah, well, everyone, all you lot were cheering him up, giving it this, giving it that. I knew he wouldn't be able to go to the distance. I know. Yeah.
Nigel.
No, you listen to me. I'd like to thank my trainer, Kevin Saunders. Everyone's saying, oh, we ain't going nowhere about Jimmy Kidd. Proved it wrong. And not only that, the person I'd like to thank most of all is Paul McKenna, who hypnotised me and made me believe in myself. I don't care what I know. You listen to me. I'm always listening to you.
Can I talk about the fight, because it was a fabulous performance, Nigel? In the first round,
and thanks to my manager,
Mike McClellan is very badly hurt. Actually, they've got a stretcher in here, Nigel. McClellan, sorry, Mike McClellan is very badly hurt. So let's just move away a second to give Mike a bit of a chance. Nigel, in the first round, Gerald McClellan, sorry, getting confused here. In the first round, actually, I had to help push you back in there. I had to help push you back in there. The first round, you were in a lot of trouble.
They only brought him over here to bash me up, mate. Let me tell you that now. I'm saying what I want to say. They only brought in there to try and bash me up, mate. No,
Frank,
no
Bill
chance.
Celtic, can you just get out of the way so we can see? That's it. Can I just, Nigel, talk about that performance? It was sheer guts on your part to get back in there after the first round.
I don't care if he knocked me down, I was ready to go with him. Whatever he wanted to do, I was ready to match him. All the way, mate, all the way. Now you might start believing in the Dark Destroyer. Start believing I'm number one, second to no one. The other person I'd like to...
Okay, we're going to wrap this interview because we have a serious problem in the ring here, Jim, with Gerald McClellan. We have a serious problem with Jim McClellan. Jim Rosenthal.
Yes, of course, that is a very worrying aspect of this fight. Gerald McClellan continues to receive attention in the ring there. And we, of course, and everybody here, I'm sure, can only hope that the challenger makes a complete recovery.
Take Gerald McClellan through this aisle. Please clear the aisles, assistants.
We have a program just after midnight tonight, and of course we will give you the very latest details on the situation here. We all hope Gerald McClellan will be fully recovered by then. But what a performance by this man, Nigel Benn, and that is a very worrying sight indeed. And concern spreading around this arena. Really, it's been a wonderful performance by this fella. You can't take it away from him. What Nigel Benn has done here tonight, he has proved everybody wrong. And he has done it showing unbelievable fighting heart. And of course, we're back after midnight tonight. Lloyd Hunnigan, the old ragamuffin man, in against Adrian Dodson, unbeaten tonight at 12:05. And there's a competition as well. That's next Saturday, Prince Nassim Hamed. Next Saturday, 10 o'clock here on ITV. He's done it. Nigel Benn. What a fight. Bye-bye.